We have had a lot of fun bringing you Connecting Hope here on TV40, and we're glad you're watching this week. Welcome to the show. I'm Will Hampton, along with Monica Greer from the Hamilton County Council on Alcohol and Other Drugs, and so much going on right now. But let's talk about an event you had. It's a little while ago, but it's something you do periodically. It's called the Drug Take Back.
Yes.
What is that, and how often do you do it?
It's very important. We've been doing this for several years in the community. We ask that community members get prescription and non-prescription medications out of their home if they're not using them. If they're old, expired, or if they don't need to take them anymore, it's just safer for them to be out of the homes. So we do a take back event twice a year. We do the last Saturday in April and the last Saturday in October through the Council on Alcohol and Other Drugs. We host our event at the Noblesville Riverview Health Hospital parking lot, and 9 to noon on those Saturdays. But what's nice in our community as well, we have different spots within the community that people can drop off medications throughout the year, 24/7. We've got the Sheriff's Department, we've got Fishers Police Department, we've got Westfield Police and Fire Department, and their lobbies, you can just drop it off. Now, we can't take any needles or any lotions, any creams, but all other forms of pills they can drop off.
So I know one of our success stories throughout the year, they told the story how when they were in deep addiction, one thing they would do is when they were going over to a friend's house is they'd go to the restroom and they'd open up the cabinet to see what was in there. And that's really the whole point behind this. There are medications that you're not using anymore that you can bring to these drop-offs, right?
Yeah, and people don't think that their friends or family are gonna do that to them, but it's the friends of the friends and that sort of thing. The other thing that I wasn't aware of till a few years ago is real estate agents have told us that they host open houses, and sometimes people just go to open houses to go through people's cabinets.
Really?
Yeah. So it's very important to keep your stuff locked if you're still needing to take the medication for that reason. It's good to have it locked anyway. But,
And I noticed at the drug drop-off that was at Riverview recently, there's a Hamilton County Sheriff there.
Yes.
And he's there to kind of go through what it is, and you guys sort it, and it's...
Yeah, we like to see if it's controlled medications, over-the-counter medications, just kind of keep track of that. And then the officers will take it to Covanta down in Indianapolis to the burn place so they safely dispose of it. And they'll give us a pound tally of what we collected. But legally, we have to have the police officer there to collect it. I can't personally collect medications and dispose of them. So that's why we have that process.
Yeah, it's a great program. Thank you guys for doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do another success story. And this is actually an encore performance.
Oh, yeah.
Way back the very first week of this show, Ben Wilson from Aspire told his story. And tonight we're gonna see it again. We're gonna hear it again. Here's part one of Ben's story.
I guess my journey into addiction began when I was 18 years old, and I was legally prescribed a medication that was prescribed to treat some depressive symptoms and anxiety that I was struggling with my senior year of high school. So at first, I took the prescription medication as prescribed. However, what I do remember is the first time I took the medication, I remember thinking to myself, wow, this feels good. I can't wait until I can take it again. And looking back at it now, I wish I knew then what I knew now. And so that was kind of a clue that I wish I had known, but I didn't. And so over the course of several weeks, I found that I needed to take more of the medication in order to get that same effect. And as I did that, I started abusing the medication. I wasn't taking it as prescribed. And then eventually I built up a tolerance to that medication. And without even realizing what was happening to me and the changes that were going on in my brain, I just continued to do what I needed to do to maintain that high, that euphoric feeling. And eventually, I started engaging in illegal activities. I started going from doctor to doctor, trying to get different prescriptions. Eventually, I went off to college. While I was in college, I was exposed to street drugs, and I experimented with street drugs. Then I started using street drugs, and so I've used many types of illicit prescription drugs, controlled substances, you name it. Pretty much I've done it. I was probably in active addiction, 13, 15 years. And essentially I had sought treatment many different times, 13 times in 13 different years, and tried at times to get sober. However, the pain and consequences that I experienced toward the end were very severe, and ultimately I ended up with nowhere to go and homeless, and found myself in New York City. No family, no money, no place to go, no shelter, no food, nothing. And it was at that time and that experience that really made me wonder that, or made me decide that I probably need to make a decision of whether or not I want to get sober and do something with my life, or just continue what I'm doing and go to an early grave.
Ben Wilson, he is helping so many people. When you think of his journey, well, I don't want to say too much because part 2 of Ben's story is coming up later in the show, but he's a guy that just really steps up, and he's right there to help people in need. Isn't he?
He is so passionate about his work of helping others. It's amazing, and just a pleasure to work with him. Yeah.
One thing I've learned in this show is that there are so many great stories. So much in the world, we talk about the negative. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of positive stories of people who are rebuilding their lives.
Yeah, and then helping others rebuild their lives. That's the amazing part of Connecting Hope.
Yeah. Well, we're just getting started here tonight, and we're going to take a break from having a guest in. Our next segment, it's just going to be you. You're going to be the host and the guest.
Wow.
How's that work? We can make it happen here on Connecting Hope. And we're going to do that when we continue. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We're right back with more after this. And welcome back to Connecting Hope. I'm Will Hampton, along with Monica Greer from the Hamilton County Council on Alcohol and Other Drugs. And each and every week we kind of zoom in a little bit on what the Hamilton County Council on Alcohol and Other Drugs does.
Yeah.
And really, I think if people are watching this show, they know by now, basically just like the name of this show, Connecting Hope, but also connecting help.
Yes.
And that's why you do what you do, isn't it?
Yeah. And we touch a lot of different pieces of the community. It's not just substance abuse itself, but the mental health side of it. It's just all connected. So bringing together the treatment side, connecting with the prevention side and the criminal justice side, it helps us touch each piece of what can hopefully help a person through their journey.
And one thing I've learned is that all 92 counties in the state of Indiana have an office similar to yours. What sets the Hamilton County Council apart from the others? Is there anything major difference? I know it's you, probably. But
No.
but what's the difference here in Hamilton County as opposed to, say, Madison or Grant County?
Well, I think first to talk about the similarities would help. All 92 counties, like you said, have a local coordinating council. That's what the Council on Alcohol and Other Drugs is. Some of them are volunteer-led. Some of them have the funding to do a part-time person. The difference between ours and some of the others is we are able to fund a full-time person, which is my position. And I think that helps us with connecting more often and being able to go after more grants, go after more community collaborations. Not that the other communities aren't doing good stuff, because we know they are, and we've collaborated with other communities on projects as well. But I think that that's the biggest part, is if you have the funding to, have a full-time person and do the work.
If someone's watching, let's say in Delaware County or wherever, is it pretty easy access to find your
Sure.
agency?
Yeah, yeah. The Indiana Criminal Justice Institute website has a local coordinating council tab on their website to where they can see every county and each coordinator or contact person for that community. So I encourage anyone that has not heard of the local coordinating council to do that, because it's possible funding, it's possible connecting with other people in the community that are doing similar activities or projects. It's just a great way to collaborate with others and get some projects going.
If you don't mind, take a second here to kind of maybe give a shout out to some of the people that step up every day to help you. Guys like Jim Ginder,
Yes.
Kelly Gunn. I
Right.
mean, it goes on and on and on, the people that
Yes.
are there to help people.
Yeah. First of all, I've got a 9-member board, and those board members are active. I can go to each one of them any day of the week and say, hey, I need help with this, or what do you think about this idea? And they are just so supportive of everything that we do. So just very fortunate to have that. Kelly Gunn is our supervisor for the COPE program. She does amazing work. She also does the Tower program that we've had on the show before in the jail. Like you said, Jim Ginder, he wears many, many hats,
Yes.
and I don't know what this community would do without Jim Ginder. Helping with the Narcan trainings. He does a lot of other trainings, HIV, sexual transmitted diseases. He does a lot of prevention work within the schools regarding substance abuse and other items. And all of the treatment providers, Ben Wilson, Scott Thomas, Diana. So just a lot of people.
I know several weeks ago we told the story of there was a Narcan box at a local restaurant
Yeah.
in Noblesville, where the box was used to save someone's life.
Yeah.
That happens probably more than we are able to tell those stories. But how big of a problem is it right now let's just zoom in on Hamilton County.
Yeah.
Is it a bigger problem than people either want to accept or know?
Yes, I believe so. We started doing the COPE program, which is the opioid abuse prevention efforts in the community. We've been doing that for the last 2 years, and it really opened our eyes, because you see statistics on paper and you think, oh, it's a problem, it's a big problem. But then when you're actually in it and trying to help people and seeing, we've been able to see more of what's happening since we started the programs with Jim Ginder does the overdose mapping, so we know exactly where the overdoses are happening, and we've seen a surge in overdoses the past 3 or 4 months with the pandemic.
Yeah,
So,
COVID has definitely been something that has raised maybe more problem. Do you agree?
yeah, definitely.
People are just depressed. Some people
Yeah,
are. and-
some of them lost their jobs, lost their homes, not being able to go to treatment. So it's been a hard hit community for that.
Yeah. We've said your email and phone numbers again several times on this show, but what are they again? If people are listening to this right now and they say, okay, I know someone that needs to be connected to an agency.
Sure. Monica, MONICA.Greer, GREER, at hamiltoncounty.in.gov. Phone number 317-776-8429.
Well, thank you for what
Thank
you're
you.
doing. And I've loved doing this show. And
Yeah.
we do want to thank Aspire,
Yes.
Indiana, and Daryl Mitchell and those folks for sponsoring this show.
Yes.
Hey, we do need more sponsors. So reach out to Monica and we can, or reach out to me,
Yeah.
and we'd love to get you involved in this show.
Yeah, we want to keep the show going
Yeah.
as long as we can.
Yeah,
So,
that is true. Well, we're going to take a break. We're going to talk more. We're going to have a little bit part 2 of Ben Wilson's story and much, much more as we continue here on Connecting Hope. Okay, now part 2 of Ben's story.
I knew that I had to find somebody to help hold me accountable that wasn't a family member, somebody that had lived experience of addiction, had gone through that similar experiences, and who had also experienced and gone through the journey and process of recovery. There was a man that walked in introduced himself, and he proceeded to share his journey, his story of addiction. And then as he explained what he had gone through, he went on and said how he got sober and how he did it and what his life was like today. Looking back on it, I think it was a little bit of everything. I think it was his story. I think it was the fact that there was a man standing in front of me who experienced similar things that I had experienced and who had turned his life around and was able to look everybody, in the eyes. He was confident. He had earned the trust of his family. That man had everything that I wanted, and I wanted to know how to get those things. And so that's what I asked him to help me with, and of course to stay sober. That was the bottom line, is if I didn't stay sober, I wouldn't get anything. I wouldn't get any of that. So it was everything. It was hope. He instilled a sense of hope for me that it is possible. Staying sober is a lifelong process. It's a journey. It's something that I have to keep in my mind 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. In fact, my sobriety is more important to me than my family, than my wife. It's more important than my children. It's more important than my life in general. And I'm sure a lot of people will be shocked hearing me say that. However, let me explain. When I was in active addiction, I didn't have a relationship with my wife or my family. I didn't have a relationship with my children. I had no confidence. I had no self-esteem. I had nothing. I was homeless. I had no shelter, nothing. And so without sobriety and without putting sobriety as the most important thing in my life, if I don't maintain that sobriety, I won't have any of that anyway. Because if I relapse, chances are it'll eventually end up killing me. It'll be fatal. And so when I say that it's more important than my wife, it's more important than my family, it's not that I love sobriety more than my family or my wife or my children. It's not that. It's just, it's more important because anything I put in front of my recovery, if I put my kids in front of my recovery, if I put my family, my wife in front of my recovery, I risk losing anything I put in front of my recovery. I realized that I need to immerse myself around people who have the same problems and had experienced the same issues and who have also, been able to maintain sobriety and be around people who are knowledgeable, insightful, people who can continue to help me for the rest of my life. And when I got sober, I only had a little bit of college. I had some college credit, but I did not have a college degree. Over the course of time, early on, just with a few months sobriety, I ended up enrolling back into school and worked on my undergrad degree. Eventually ended up graduating with my bachelor's degree. And then I applied to get into graduate school. It took some time and some effort, but eventually a university granted me admission, and I worked hard and worked on a counseling degree, ended up graduating with my master's degree, 4.0 GPA. And then I decided at that time that I wanted to get involved in teaching. Ended up pursuing a PhD, and finally in 2017, I graduated and was awarded a PhD in counselor education and supervision. Having the courage to ask for help and admit that you can't do this alone is probably the first step. If you can't ask for help, many people won't know you need help. And if you can't ask for help, that can prove fatal, and it's unfortunate. So my advice is to first, don't be afraid to ask for help. Providers today look at this as a medical disease, and it's treated from the medical model perspective. And this is not a moral failing. Individuals who have addictions and substance use disorders are not bad people trying to get good. They're sick people, they're ill, and they're trying to get well. And I think a lot of people, as a result of stigmas and just misinformation, are very fearful to admit that they have a problem and therefore scared to ask for help. If you can overcome that, ask for help, you can start that journey of recovery because it's possible.
Incredible, incredible story, Ben Wilson. And you think of it, he was on the street, homeless, and now he has a PhD.
Yeah, yeah.
It is
so humble.
perseverance.
Yeah.
If I've learned anything with these success stories, is perseverance.
Yeah.
You may be down,
Yeah.
but you're not out.
Yeah, they've hit such a low, and for them to come out of it and shine like that, it's amazing. And to be able to tell their story.
And I do appreciate Ben and
Yeah.
all of our success stories. The humility just to tell the story is something special.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll close out this edition of Connecting Hope after this. And welcome back to Connecting Hope. Will Hampton along with Monica Greer. We've learned a little bit more about what you guys do in this show. I'm glad we had a chance to do that, just to sit and tell people what is the Hamilton County Council on Alcohol and Other Drugs.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot going on, and like you said, this time of year, the turn into getting close to 2021, which every one of us are saying thank you that 2020 is
Yes.
almost over.
Please get
but
here.
everything pretty good at your place, and people can still reach out and
Yeah,
connect.
yeah. I think we are at a point where agencies are getting back to normal as they can. People are adjusting to virtual sessions or meetings, recovery meetings or treatment meetings if they need it. So I feel good about the resources that are available and people being able to still get the services that they need.
Well, thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Connecting Hope. We'll see you next week.